The task is to see the possible links between social enterprise development, institutional reforms, and the intellectual or the knowledge economy. Sri Lanka, known for its high achievements in human development. Within the region, Sri Lanka has been ranked high, and of course, we are quite closer to, in terms of those development into any other developed country in the world. But I'm not a believer, even though we have achieved these good numbers. I think we were not being able to make Sri Lanka a knowledge economy. We were quite conventional in terms of our thinking. And we should not be proud that we have mixed the culture, the society, social values, race, regional disparities, all that with the development. We are happy to have a piece of me if it is someone else's slaughter, where the slaughtering comes with the religion or the culture or something else. Therefore, we have missed as a nation so much. Even after 70 years of independence, still we are struggling to establish ourselves as a nation. The initial dilemma what we had was, since the local economy of Sri Lanka is too smaller, better not to get into some kind of entrepreneurship, enterprise development. More often, the issues were raised, whom to sell. But if you take, for example, Switzerland makes chocolates and researchers for the whole world. You know what is the size of the population? It's around 1 million. If you take Botswana, for example, they are the biggest meat producer in the world. The population is about 850,000. And if you take Japan, for example, the population is 125 million. The world's biggest automobile manufacturer. Therefore, there are lessons for us to learn from many parts of the world. Now, to begin with, what I thought was, let's look at yesterday and this morning, we were trying to understand precisely three very important concepts: social entrepreneurship, and social enterprise. Now, in my opinion, I believe if you were to develop social enterprise, you have to do certain institutional reforms in order to establish, create a knowledge economy. The knowledge economy gives you the input into new way of thinking. Now let's look at what is this social entrepreneur. Now in Sinhala I have put it in very simple terms. Devena Samaja Gataluvat Nirman Sili Visam Sapaya. The social entrepreneurs are individuals with innovative solutions to society's most pressing social problems. I was talking to a retired doctor in the downstairs. He is running day adult care facility. It's like a daycare for kids. It's a daycare for us. Now there are sons and daughters, they have an issue of taking care of their parents during the day. Maybe a mother or a father. He said that he got about 80 in his facility during the day. What they need is very simple. Maybe a good cup of tea and a newspaper and to do some, something to pass the time. So he charges a kind of a nominal fee. Those who are coming to get the facility during the day, so he's taking care of them. Now it is a pressing issue, and he has come up with a very innovative solution. You don't have to spend so much. Drop your father or mother during the day, and when you're going back, like we do with our kids. Now, what is important in social entrepreneur is with innovative solution. So where this innovation come from? I have a very interesting video clip. I think the young boy will be able to play it. It will explain to you in detail what kind of thing that we are looking at in social entrepreneurship.
Mervyn is a young entrepreneur who knows how to get things done. He inherited Marge, a cow that his grandpa always said was one very smart and special cow. Marge loves Mervyn very much and gives him lots of milk from which he makes delicious cheese. Everyone loves Mervyn's cheese and his business is going well. However, Mervyn is not happy. Over the years, he has noticed his country becoming more and more impoverished. Unemployment is high and everybody is leaving in pursuit of a better future. Seeing Mervyn so sad, Marge decides it's time to help him and his country. She reveals to him the concept of social entrepreneurship. It's like any other entrepreneurship where your product is placed on the market and profit is generated. However, the profit is not used exclusively to enlarge the wealth of the business's owner, but instead is reinvested in order to increase the quality of life and well-being of the entire community. Business success is also measured in terms of positive social and ecological impact. Suddenly, everything was clear to Mervyn and he became a social entrepreneur. With his newly found business management knowledge, he is now able to successfully balance economic, social, and environmental goals. Social entrepreneurs identify social problems and use entrepreneurial skills to achieve positive changes such as environmental protection and conservation, job creation, meeting public, cultural, and health needs, the inclusion of the most vulnerable members of the community, and so on. With his example, Mervyn has shown us that changes are possible and that the power is in our hands. If you want to achieve something larger than plain profit, then find out more about social entrepreneurship and learn how you can positively affect your community while maintaining a steady income. And remember, by doing good for your community, you're doing good for yourself.
Now, innovation and also new idea. For what? To transform the opportunities. Now, let's look at who's the social entrepreneur. He's the leader. He always with innovative, and also a different approach. Now the example that I mentioned is a medical doctor, he retired. He knows the general practice. And he hired 2 nurses. Initially they were volunteers. And then he knows the fundamentals of adult care. He said that he never gave any publicity to his business. Now he is moving into another bigger facility in Homagama. Not only to have a daycare, even to have a full daycare, not on a regular basis. Whenever you feel, move away from home, or whenever you feel your parents should be somewhere there till you come back home. Say, for example, you are going for a holiday. Your parents can't travel with you, but you need a place to keep them for a week or 2. And the next is the social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship, again, use of techniques by startup companies and other entrepreneurs to develop, fund, and implement a solution to social, cultural, and environmental issues. Like any other business. You are not running a kind of a charity. Now, social enterprise. My boy, I would like you to have the second clip.
Social entrepreneurship strengthens communities, creates jobs, and increases environmental and financial sustainability. Social entrepreneurs use a specific business model called social enterprise to directly address a social, cultural, or environmental issue. Let's show you a few examples. A bakery social enterprise might provide training and jobs to people who face persistent barriers to employment. They help them build skills they can use to find full-time work. A community orchestra could help amateur musicians connect with each other and perform for local paying audiences. Tickets are so affordable that anyone can watch their concerts. The groups get to learn about and share the music of different cultures within the community. An environmental enterprise might provide subsidies for energy retrofits to homeowners to make their homes more efficient and to help the environment. In each example, the social enterprise is directly addressing one or more important community issues by making and selling a product or service to paying customers. All social entrepreneurs and social enterprises seek to achieve more than a bottom-line financial result. They exist primarily to meet their mission. It is not uncommon for these types of businesses to strive for value on double or even a triple bottom line approach, which takes into consideration both people and the planet. So who are these social entrepreneurs? Well, they can be anyone. Social entrepreneurs are started by people who care enough about something to take the necessary action to make an impact. Even you can be the next social entrepreneur. Akram started a local urban garden. The garden exists to provide healthy food to people in urban areas that may not have access to these items otherwise. They also teach skills around urban farming and healthy eating. Their participants sell what they have grown at their weekly market stand, and this helps to pay for the garden. June worked in a nonprofit providing help for persons with disabilities to find jobs. However, there weren't many jobs available for these people, even with the provided coaching and training. So June decided to start a cafe supported by her organization to employ the clients. They get supportive and understanding employment, and the organization can eventually make money to provide more social programming. John noticed youth in his area were underemployed. He also noticed the elderly were moving out because they could not maintain simple household chores like vacuuming, lawn mowing, and shoveling. Additionally, the two groups were not interacting with one another. He decided to start a social enterprise employing youth where they could rake leaves, mow lawns, and shovel snow for the elderly, who would pay them for their services. The youth get valuable hands-on experiences, and the elderly can live in their homes longer because these services are being offered. And both get to learn about each other and break down barriers that help create the generational gap. So you can see all types of people do it. People on their own and working in organizations too. If the primary purpose is to create social, cultural, and/or environmental value, then it is a social enterprise. When more people engage in this work, we can strengthen our communities and change the world for the better, one caring social entrepreneur at a time.
Like any other business organization, where will we place now we have two extremes. The traditional organization for profit and a traditional non-profit organization. Now, if you look at in this hybrid spectrum, where social enterprise will be placed. See, it's not just toward profit or non-profit, but it is more towards non-profit side than that of profit. I'm just trying to figure it out where this new thinking, the knowledge should come in. Mission, motives, stakeholder accountability, and then these are the kind of a possible example one could think of. Type of social enterprises. Now, starting from animal rights to women empowerment and women rights. It can have a bigger and a variety of businesses. Therefore, you can just think of anything can be social. Now, this the culture of social entrepreneurship has to be created. Unless we create it in such a way, it may not be possible for us to recognize the possibilities. Now, you will see some words scattered around. New ideas, social innovation, innovative solutions. For what? The social problem. Now, we transform this social problem where social enterprise, where we need the knowledge, a new knowledge. To facilitate that, we need institutional reforms. Now, when we were young, we didn't have whiteboards or multimedia. We had blackboards. We never had anyone to clean our classrooms, but we had a monitor. And end of the semester, we have to make it black. And we often use, of course those days, not many households had electricity. we use the locally lamp manufactured at home, maybe an empty bottle or a tin with a lid, and we collect this carbon monoxide, the carbon. So, and we mix with, there's a local tree, enderu. I don't know what you call it in English. So enderu kiri, it has a different liquid, and we mix together, and we make it brand new. And we use tools. Right. There were lots of innovation, in my opinion, in the classroom itself, but we not being able to promote. Now, let's look at how we could develop or create a knowledge economy. The knowledge generally we use to develop human capital. Human capital to be used as a productive asset in any production process. Now, if you take any high-tech, any modern kind of industry, the innovations have come from the human thinking, human mind. That has to be trained. Where this knowledge comes out from the human mind is to be used as a productive asset. Now, how we could do that? For that, let's try to understand what is this knowledge economy is all about. The knowledge economy is a system of consumption and production that is based on intellectual capital. That is on 4 pillars: institutional structure that provides the incentive for entrepreneurship and the use of knowledge, skilled labor availability and good education system, ICT infrastructure and access, and vibrant innovation landscape that includes academia, private sector and civil society. Let me share with you a very interesting small clip on the knowledge economy.
Almost 60% of Georgian population is employed in agriculture, and most of it is comprised of unskilled labor force without any proper training and with the corresponding low level of output. Now, the question going forward is, can Georgia transform itself from agrarian economy to a knowledge-based economy, and that way find its niche in the global market? That's the big question. But let's first start by explaining what we mean by knowledge economy. Well, if other sectors of the economy are composed of agriculture, or so-called primary sector, manufacturing, the secondary sector, and services industry, the tertiary sector, the knowledge economy bases itself in education and human capital. In other words, we are talking about big investments in education, creation of knowledge and research institutions that makes it possible for the country to raise the standard of living in the long term. There are dozens of countries which have done so in the recent past, starting from Israel, which moved from production of oranges and kiwis to high-tech products such as Google's AutoSuggest, Korea, which now produces world-known brands like Samsung and Hyundai, Costa Rica, which is home to production base of Intel's semiconductor industry, and many other examples of such kind. Now, what is needed to achieve such transformation? Step number 1 is to have a large-scale investments in education system of the country. In this regard, Georgia has obvious deficits as teachers and professors belong to the worst paid group category in the labor force. Step number 2 is to have investments in research institutions. The country has to start funding these institutions, and they should be tied to universities, a place where the knowledge is created. Step number 3. Private sector should closely cooperate with universities, as it incentivizes the professors to work in the areas that have economic potential, making it more likely that discoveries can be transformed into marketable products and lead to economic growth. On the question whether such transformation would take long, the history tells us that the range could start from 20 years and go up to 30 years. But at the same time, many development economists believe that it's possible to skip certain development stages, or employing so-called leapfrogging theory. For instance, some countries in the past have moved from a situation without telephones to having mobile networks, leaving out the stage of landline telephones. In the end, in today's hyper-connected world, it is highly likely that some leapfrogging will take place in the Caucasus. But don't forget the key to all this. Investments in education, and again education, is what is needed to make this happen.
Now, what is the significance of a knowledge economy? The knowledge, intangible assets, intellectual capital. Now, if you take for example, even though China manufactures phones, the intellectual inputs come from the United States of Africa. Have you ever thought of why they are shifting their manufacturing plants to our part of the world? It is cheaper to transfer those manufacturing plants for us to manufacture, but of course the pattern, design and all other things are coming from those countries. We only get a small fraction for stretching, that's it. The whole world, if you divide into two, the one part is the intellectual, the knowledge, the other part is the manufacturing. Right? So everyone is asking why United Kingdom have given out a manufacturing automobile. It is cheaper to sell the knowledge than that of production. This is as a result. Now recently there was a transaction at the Singer was taken over by the Harris. And I met a very senior guy at the Singer. He said, yes, but still they have this brand value. Every month, every year, every quarter they get something for it. So you have sold the dirty part of it and keeping the cleaner part of your hand to make the money. That is the power of the knowledge economy. Now, the knowledge economy's potential is in our part of the world. Now, if you take, for example, yesterday, His Excellency, the High Commission of India, he said, the 17% of the world population living in India. That is with 256 million a young population, aged between 16 to 25. Can you imagine? 1 trillion, 1 billion, 1 billion, 1 billion population. Every corner in India is so much of the development to develop its human capital. The other issues like poverty, disparity of distribution income, all that is there. But still for all, I don't know how many universities, how many business schools is running in India. But I'm quite sure every corner is something to do with developing their human capital. Now, therefore there is no doubt, in order to develop the knowledge economy, we have to develop the entire economy. We have to look at the economy as a whole. Now, unless you looked at this macro picture of the economy, you may not be able to achieve this target. For that, we need to reform the institution. Now, let's briefly look at what these institutions are. The commonly accepted definition for institution is that there are formal and informal rules that organize social, political, and economic relations. Therefore, there's a little confusion. Institutions and organizations. Institutions are the formal and informal rules. Now, when we run a household, we have certain rules and regulations. You come before 8 o'clock, you have your breakfast, you are talking to your son or a daughter. Now, what are institutional reforms? The term reforms imply amending the system which is not performing as satisfactory. When it comes to the institutional reforms, what you are basically doing is that you are trying to amend the existing rules and regulations because they are not promising. My son, let me have the last claim. This is very interesting what India has done.
Reforms in Indian agriculture. In this module, you will learn about the reforms made in the agricultural sector and the effects of globalization of agricultural sector. Since ancient times, agriculture is the primary activity of people living in India. Post-independence, India has progressed considerably in the agricultural sector because of the technological and institutional reforms. Let's look in detail into the technological and institutional reforms made in the agricultural sector. Technological reforms refer to the changes made in the use of technology. Owing to the technological reforms, the agriculture sector in India modernized. Various agricultural tools have been mechanized. The Persian wheel, wooden plough, and bullock carts have been replaced by the use of tractors, threshers, and monoblock or submersible pumps. 40% of land in India gets water through irrigation facilities. Today, with the use of drip irrigation and sprinklers, less water is used to obtain more production. Farmers today use chemical fertilizers like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, diammonium phosphate, DAP, urea, and biofertilizers to yield a good production. The crops are protected from pests by using pesticides, insecticides, and biocontrol. The government gives economic and technical aid to farmers to purchase subsidies. Necessary information on how to use fertilizers and insecticides and the information regarding the agricultural researches is imparted by the government using various media like television, radio, and newspaper. At distinct level, farmers' training centers have been established. To ensure that the farmers get the benefits of the agricultural research, Gram Sevaks have been appointed. Agricultural universities have been established in every state to make the agriculturists and agro-scientists available for the farmers. For example, the Sardar Patel Krushi University, located at Dantewada in the Banaskantha district of Gujarat. Activities of the national institutes such as the Indian Council for Agricultural Research, ICAR, and Development of Agricultural Research and Education, DARE, have resulted in the increase in the farm production. various institutional reforms have been made by the government in the agriculture sector. Zamindari system was abolished to stop the exploitation of the farmers. Legislative acts like the Land Regulation Act, Land to the Tillers Act, Tenancy Act, and Land Sealing Act have benefited the farmers in different ways. The Bhudan Yagya of Acharya Vinoba Bhave appealed to the landlords to donate a part of their land. Small land holdings were combined for farming to make them economically viable, according to the Consolidation of Land program. The government has established different institutions to assist farmers. These include timely loans with lower interest rates are provided to the farmers by the cooperative banks and cooperative societies. Local marketing yards and go-downs at cooperative and government level for the farmers to get sustainable price for their produce. For example, the Gujarat Cooperative Oilseeds Growers Federation, GrowFed, the Gujarat State Cooperative Marketing Society Limited, Guj Comasol and National Dairy Development Board, NDDB, buy the farm products from farmers at a sustainable price. Better transportation and communication facilities have been provided by the government. The Agricultural Crop Insurance Plan safeguards the interests of the farmers. The Green Revolution refers to the increase in the production of the food grains as a result of the use of high-yielding variety of seeds and increased use of fertilizers and irrigation. Green Revolution is a result of the technological and institutional reforms. The Green Revolution has both positive and negative effects.
You see, when we talked about the institutional reforms, it can go on, so many, right? Now we have the knowledge economy and the institutional reforms, and we know what it is, the social enterprise. But still for all, we have the common challenges, which are common to many countries in our region. And we take for example, thinking and working politically. Now there are lots of positive thinking, but of course once you get into politicize, that won't work. Now if you take Sri Lanka for example, Mr. Gigangi might be able to explain this than me. The social enterprise sector in Sri Lanka is growing. It has a lot of potential. But policies and systems need to be developed to support the growth of the emerging social enterprise sector in Sri Lanka. I thought at least in this budget may mention, we are giving some priorities to social enterprise development than that of being a hurry. Right? Now there are something missing. That is why we organize this kind of a conference, for us to have a platform to discuss what we are missing. The political issues had overriding the influence over the outcome of economic reforms. The reforms failed to attract a healthy flow of foreign investment. The reforms failed to achieve an export-oriented growth. Reforms failed to capitalize on initial advantages. Gain in technology transfer and innovations are negligible. See public resistance to some aspects of liberalization, poor attention to environmental threats. I can go on. These are the ones we are missing. Therefore, it is quite clear it is possible for us to have very strong social enterprise sector where we need some reforms in order to make the Sri Lanka a knowledge economy. Thank you very much.